to you all. You are welcome to today's lesson. I'm Sir Michael. So last time Sunday we started by looking at ecology. We defined what ecology is, and we also talk about some ecological concept like the ecosystem. Then we talk about what a biosphere is. So if you realize ecology is the study of interaction between living things and non-living things and their environment. So it's the interaction between living things and their environment, or someone can say is the interaction between biotic and abiotic factors in an environment. So the biotic factors are the living things, their products, and also the activities that they do, whereas the abiotic factors are the non-living components, and it could be grouped into edaphic factors, that is factors that are also in the soil and some other things. Alright, as you rightly said, I explained that the herbivores are primary consumers, and herbivore from the word herb, and that means they feed on plants or herbs. So since they feed on plant or herbs, then it means they are feeding directly on the producers. So they are called primary consumers. And herbivores are strictly heterotrophs. Sorry, herbivores are strictly primary consumers because for them they cannot be second. They are always first because that is the only thing they can feed on. So that is why we refer to them as primary consumers. Now we have the carnivores. Carnivores or canines, either they feed on flesh and flesh alone. So since they feed on flesh alone, it means they can't feed directly on the primary producers. So my question is, can carnivores be primary consumers or they are strictly secondary consumers? Can a carnivore also be a primary consumer? That is a question I'm asking. You can raise up your hand and you answer my question if only you are in to answer. Yeah, the hand is up. Whose ever hand is up, you can explain to us. Okay, why? Very good. So carnivores can never be primary consumers, and the reason is they can never feed on plants. So they will always feed on an animal that had fed first on plants. So or that feeds on plants. That is why carnivores can never be a primary consumer. So they could be secondary consumer, they could be tertiary, they could be quaternary, they could be up, and the rest. So that is what the carnivores are. Now, what about omnivores? Can omnivore be a primary consumer, or they are always secondary, tertiary, quaternary, upwards? So my question is, can an omnivore be primary consumer as well as secondary, tertiary, and the rest? That is the question I want us to address. Yeah, I'm not a part. Your hand is up. Thank you very much. So they can feed on plants, that makes them so. An omnivore can be found on any trophic level in the food chain. When we say trophic levels, it refers to where you are getting your food. So we have the first trophic level, second, third, fourth, and the rest, depending on where you are getting your food. So the example that I gave as the grass being fed on by grasshopper being fed by the lizard being fed upon by the snake, and the fowl feeding on the snake, and the human feeding on the fowl, now comes together as a food chain. So each level where we see an organism, it calls a trophic level. So where you are getting your food, the stage where you are getting your food is your trophic level. So the omnivore can be on any of the consumer's trophic level. It can never be a producer. It can start from primary consumer up to so and so consumer. And the producers, they are always at the producer first trophic level because they are bringing the food. They are always at the first trophic level. And the second trophic level is occupied by herbivores or an organism that can feed on herbs. So that is the herbivores and omnivores. Herbivores are always restricted to the second trophic level. That is the first consumer area. And omnivores, they can be the second trophic level up to infinity or the last. And carnivores can only occupy the third trophic level, that is the second consumer area up to infinity or the end. So that is what I want you to understand under the heterotrophs. So autotrophs are able to prepare their own food, and it could be either through light, we call them photosynthesis, or through chemicals like the green sulfur bacteria or the sulfur bacteria, sorry, that is through a chemical synthesis or called chemosynthesis. So now we have the herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. Then we call organism decomposes. So decomposers, as I told you, before we eat, someone has to prepare or bring the food. That person is the producer or the autotroph. Now the consumers will go and enjoy the food. Then after eating, someone has to clean the waste so that germs and parasites don't build up. And those are called the decomposers. What they do is, after every death organism dies, they will break down the organic matter. Then they will make nutrients available for the plant or producers to prepare another set of food. So these are decomposed. They feed on dead organic matter. So when animal die, the plant die, or part of the organisms die and fall off, they break them down to take waste builder from the ecosystem and bring nutrients or something beneficial back to the ecosystem. So those are the decomposers, and normally they are saprophyte. That's the bacteria and fungi. They secrete their enzymes on the food. It breaks down. That causes the decay or breakdown. Then it will give nutrients into the soil as they also enjoy their food. Now my question is the cat an omnivore or a carnivore? What about the dog? Is the dog an omnivore, carnivore, or herbivore, and why? So that's my question. It's very practical because you see the cats, we have the dogs in our home, most of us. So are they omnivores, carnivores, or herbivores? If you have an answer, can you explain why? Or if you think they are all, let me know, and why have they become so? That is the question. Cats and dogs, where would they find? Would they be found under the food, the heterotrophs types? Yeah, Augustina Saforo. Okay, Patricia hand came first. Let me call Pat. Sorry. Okay, you talk. If you are already online, talk. Okay, thank you very much. Now who calls any other person to buy Amna? Alright, same as the first person, Augustina J. Saforo. Augustina. Alright, thank you very much. You are not wrong, you are correct. But there is something that happened. That is why we are saying that naturally they are carnivores. That's why we refer to the dog as a canine. So sometimes when you hear the word canine, it also refers to as the dog. And the cat is also like the tiger and the rest. So the tiger is a carnivore, lion is a carnivore, leopard is a carnivore. Why is it that cat is an omnivore? It's because of domestication. Get me right. Naturally, the cat is a carnivore. The dog is also a carnivore. The reason is they have a canine, and any organism that has the canine is a carnivore. Look at the name, carnivore. So carnivorous, canine eating. So these organisms have the canine, that is the long projected teeth, and they have a close fitting teeth incisors, and they have a carnassial teeth. That is what they use for shearing their meat or cracking bones. So all these organisms that I mentioned, that is the dog and the cat, are naturally uh, carnivores. If you like, put your ampesi rice or food or any food from or product from a plant source and put me there, and let's see what happens. Sometimes you can feed the dog, they will eat the food, everything. When they get to the bones or meat, look at the appetite and seriousness they use for the meat. So naturally they are meat eaters or carnivores, but since humans have domesticated them, they do. When the cat goes out to eat, it will naturally go and hunt for an animal. It won't go and hunt for maize or something in the farm, no. But because of domestication, humans have forced these animals to be eating what we provide them. But naturally, they are carnivores. And I remember students have said this thing not once but twice and thrice, always almost in different year batches. I have not seen one before, but what I've seen is that they can chew the sheep and goat, they can chew soup. For that one I've seen one before, but I never see them chewing dried or smoked fish. But some students have complained, and most of them have confirmed that they have seen goats and sheep. Normally it's the goat, because we know goats, they chew meat. They've been chewing like these dry fishes, the head and those things. So that is what they have realized. But is the goat a carnivore? No, the goat is a herbivore. But you see that once in a while, when they get access to some of these things, they can feed on. Any other question or contribution, then we can continue. So thanks for answering the question. Naturally, they are carnivores, but domestication has made them omnivores. But when you put the two there, they have more appetite for the meat. Okay, let's continue. Now, predators are organisms that hunt, kill, and feed other organisms. So when an organism feeds on another organism as its food, that becomes a predator. And the one that is being fed upon is a prey. So that's a predator-prey relationship. And prey serve as a means of energy transfer. So they give energy to the predator so that the predator can live. And the predator will also be predated by another. Because now if the lizard is feeding on the grasshopper, the lizard is the predator, the grasshopper is the prey. But the lizard will also be fed upon by another organism, and now the predator becomes a prey to another predator, or till we get to the apex predator, that is the last organism in the food chain that we will draw for every circumstance. So that is a prey predator. Now we have competition and symbiosis. I will end at competition for today. Symbiosis, we have some other terms I would like to explain. Though when we continue, we will talk about all these things, but at least for the start, I have to give you some point. It's 9 o'clock already. Now, any other question or contribution on prey and predators? Then I'll finish with competition. Then we'll end tonight's lesson. Any question, raise up your hand, then you can ask. Alright, thank you very much. So now competition. Now there's a prey predator relationship whereby the predator will try and feed and the prey will try to escape predator, but still predator has to leave, so they will get some prey to feed on. Now competition is a struggle whereby organisms struggle for limited resources. Now when we serve you for say that okay, this is your food, it is packaged, then another person, that is your food, is packaged, is given to the person. Do you rush for it? You can put it there. For example, in the house, when they call the food is ready, you know you have your portion in your own bowl there for you. Anytime you feel hungry, you can go to the dining area, then you eat. That is fine. But when maybe you went to somewhere and you're eating together, and they said the food is ready, the way you put your phone down, leave TikTok, leave your books and come and eat, because over there, if you don't join them, before you realize the food is gone. So that over there, there's a competition. So what do? You struggle. That is the competition we are talking about. If you are the only one in the room or in the house, one the same bathhouse, you are the only one there, do you wake up at dawn just because you want to beat line or queue to get water to bath or to go to the washroom? No. But when you are a compound house or room, a community whereby about 10 rooms or 10 people are using only one lavatory, what will happen? You have to wake up at dawn or do things so that you don't get a lot of queue at the washroom. You don't want to get late to work, so in the bathroom. That is competition. So you have to find a particular time you can do. So when people are using limited resources, competition becomes inevitable. But when there's an abundance of resources, there's no need to rush. So that is competition, whereby organisms try to struggle for limited resources. We refer to that as competition. We have types of competition. We have the interspecific and intraspecific. Remember, in our sporting activities, we have inter-schools and we can also do intra-school. So for instance, in your senior high school that you are in, the Jazz, Cars, WAS and the rest, if you are doing inter-houses, why is it called inter-houses? Because you are playing against the Adifi house and the other house, Yas Antoine, the other house, Afia Kobi. So all these houses are playing together or against each other. It becomes inter-houses. But when a particular house like Ya Achan house is playing or training, that becomes intra-house, because they are all members of the singular house and they are training to go and face another house on campus. If the same school team, we have school team A, school team B, they are trying to play, just train themselves to go and face a different school, that becomes inter-school, because one school, Santua, is fighting maybe Afia Kobi and Pimdako girls. Oh, okay, that's a professional team, sorry, or maybe St. Louis or St. Monica's. That becomes inter. But when we are training team A and B, like Form 1s and Form 2s are playing against each other, it becomes inter-classes or inter-form, but it is intra-school. Reason is the same students in the same school. So we have inter-specific competition and intra-specific. Intra means within, inter means outside or against another. So interspecific competition is when organisms belonging to different species will compete or struggle for limited resources. Example of intra is when organisms of the same species try to struggle for limited resources. With this said, if you understand, I'm inviting people to come and give me an example. I don't want to give one. If I give one, it becomes so easier for you to give me other examples. Give me an example of either interspecific competition or intraspecific competition. Each one you are comfortable with, you give it, you tell me whether it's inter or intra. Intra is the same species competing for the same resources, and the intra is the same species, and inter is different species competing for the same available resource. So examples, if you are ready, raise up your hand. I'll invite you to talk. then we will end tonight's lesson. You can raise up your hand. I will invite you shortly, then we can continue. Example of either interspecific or intraspecific competition. Same species or different species, whichever one you are comfortable with, you can give your example, then we are done. So organism can struggle for resources that are limited, and the resources could be food, it could be water, it could be space. So if your class, the desks are very few, sometimes you have to compete. Sometimes if you school reopens and you don't go on the very first day, you might not get a bed, or you might not get a suitable place to keep your things. So normally people do rush on the first day so they can get where they are very comfortable, very good. When you get to your room, you see people want the corner, some want the window area, some want just the door, so that anytime they can sneak in or out of the room. So for them, their micro habitat is either the window in the middle or where the fan is. That is where you want to sleep in the room. Someone always want the down bed. So when school reopens, they want to go fast so that the limited down beds they can sleep on. Someone want to sit in front. So once school resumes, they go and get a very good desk. They put it in the first row and they are good. That becomes your micro habitat, and you are competing with your fellow human beings. So is that intra or inter? So we can compete for food, for space, for mate. That is a couple, or let me say a counterpart, so that we can reproduce. We compete for all of these things to get survival. So example of interspecific competition and intraspecific competition. Then we end tonight's lesson. No hand is up yet. Okay, let me give one. Then I'll be happy if someone will come in. So example. Okay, very good, very good. Lillian, you just came in at the right time. Lillian, if it wasn't a mistake, you can talk. I've given you the opportunity to talk. Yeah, is that Jessica? Sorry, let me check the name well. Yeah, Jessica. Sorry, yeah. Jesse. Example, either inter or intra-specific competition. Very good. That's the example of interspecific, because different species, a lion and you said leopard, they are competing for the same antelope. So that is the same resources, but they all want to feed on the antelope, the gazelle, or any other organism over there. That becomes inter. Thank you very much. Another person, or if you have another one too, you can share with us. Since you are not many. Okay, Patricia. Very good. So you can have is it the pride of lion? Then I think, oh, there's another name for the hyena. They are closing. I've forgotten it. They come, so in their also in their gang, they also come in just to ambush the antelope or the leopards over there. And as they are competing, maybe the lions will get it. Later, the hyenas will also get the chance. They will come and drive the lions and they will feed on the leftover. You see, they are all competing. So probably after catching it, the hyenas will come in their numbers. They will ambush the the lions, then they will just leave, then they will enjoy. So the lion will not get time to enjoy much of their meal. So you see, they are all competing, and that is inter-specific competition. What about the intra? Anyone that is ready, come on board. Example of intra. So there could be a lot of examples. Human beings and sorry to say, and cattle maybe using the same pond or river as water source. So if you don't go early in the morning, before you realize, the herdsmen will take the cattle there and they'll go and muddy the water. So sometimes people do complain that they don't have good drinking water because animals will go there and muddy the water. They can't drink any water. So that is competition. Human, you've planted your maize. Before you go, the next day the grass cutters have cut all the maize. They've enjoyed it. The squirrels are eating your groundnut, or let me say your palm nut. They are competing. Because of them, you don't get enough yield of your groundnut, your oil plantation, or even your maize. That's also competition interspecific. What about intra? Someone should help us with one or two. Lillian, your hand is still up. Yeah. Yeah, two birds fighting for the same nest, or they are trying to make their nest at a particular place. That is intra-specific, because why? They are all birds, same species, and they are fighting for hunting. Let's talk about mate and couples. We know some fowls normally do that, and other organisms do. Yes, other organisms do, but it's fowls that we normally see. They fight for mates. So we see the cock, that is the one, the rooster, the one that normally roosts is the dominant one. When he sees the younger cocks also trying to mate the other hen, it will try to chase them out. So we see they are all competing for the limited hen in their where they are found in their community. So they try to chase them out, and so they are fighting. When you put food there, you see they'll be chasing each other. The older one will be pecking the smaller ones. Sometimes the hen, mother hen, or the one that are having chicks will try to also suck the others so that their chicks, little ones, can also feed. So they are all competing. Any other example of intra-specific competition? And meat, yes. But when the dog and cat fight over meat, that becomes inter-specific. So once you understand, there are several thousands and millions of examples you can provide. So human beings fighting over land, that is also intra-specific competition. Yes, please talk, Augustina. Your hand is up. Yeah. So a pack of wolves, then they are fighting. Normally, it's among the dominant male and some other young ones who want to take dominion over their pack. So they'll be fighting, and it's a winner takes all. What I've read and realized is that they say in the pride of lion, normally we have the alpha male, that is the dominant male, and if you are a male, you should be a young one. Once you reach a stage that you can start hunting, your daddy or the leader, the alpha male, will chase you out. But for ladies, they are always in the pride. You become as young as you are, you grow to become a teenage lion, then you continue a lioness. When you reach a state, if you're a male, you'll be chased out because you might be reaching mating area. You'll be chased out. Then when you go out of your pride, and you're able to overcome the alpha male in another pride, you become the leader. If you are also stronger enough to overpower your father or the alpha male in your pride, that you can chase that alpha male out, you become one alpha male. So always there's only one king. But if there's a lion over a male one, you is either you are young or you haven't reached a stage where you can start mating, then you can still be there. When you reach a particular age, they know that now you've reached adults, you'll be chased out. So normally it endures with a fight. So that made us be out, will be moving. Let me finish, sorry. Will be moving around. If it can come back to its pride and fight against the alpha male, it can do so, then it dominates. Even the fowl, the cock, they do that. Always the one that will roast, that is the alpha cock over there. Sometimes the younger ones can start fighting them. I've seen them several times. They could fight several times, they'll be bleeded their comb. If the younger one is able to beat the older one, then it will take over. Sometimes the older one doesn't want to kowtow to them, so they can fight till even death, or you the owner, you just take one of them, then you kill. Once you kill the older one, you see the younger one will start roasting. That shows dominance over the rest. and it will also be doing the same thing, and the cycle continues on and on. The person that was trying to cut me in, you can now talk. So I don't know whether it was a Christina. I'm sure it was a question. So you can now officially ask your question, then we will end the lesson very shortly. I'll give you the chance, so please kindly talk if you can hear me. If your question that you wanted to ask to has been answered, let us know so that we can continue. Alright, I've waited for 5 seconds. Anytime you are ready, raise up your hand, then officially I will invite you. Okay, so let's continue. So those are the examples of the interspecific competition and the intraspecific competition. When we start symbiosis, we will not have enough time to continue, so I will end the lesson here. God willing, on Sunday. So let me tell you, those who are on this live session, Wednesday, we can't make it tomorrow because I will be traveling in the evening. So by the time that we have the lesson, up to 9 or 10, I will be in a bus, so I can't teach in such a noisy area. So Wednesday's meeting has been suspended. If per chance I can reschedule, fine. If not, we will make it on Sunday. So tomorrow being Wednesday, sorry we can't have our next meeting. It has been moved to Sunday, or any further notice I will let you know. But let's make it on a Sunday. Use these days to revise. You have the material, go through, and that will be good for us all. If there are no questions, I will be glad to end the lesson for tonight. I'm waiting for just 5 seconds. It's 9:20. We have gone 20 minutes beyond our time. If you have a question, you can ask. If not, thanks for joining us for tonight's lesson. When we meet in our next lesson, we will talk about symbiosis and biodiversity. So it's a very interesting topic that we will look at. Then we talk about ecological succession, and we will end the ecological concepts at that point. Thank you very much for joining. It's been an exciting lesson with you, and I appreciate your participation and interaction. So see you next time, same time Sunday. Bye bye to you all.